Welcome to your daily dose. I am here with the effervescent Susan Scarlett. My name's Robert, and we just got done with our first Christmas movie hero's journey. What are your feelings, Susan?
Oh my gosh. One of the most original concepts I've ever heard of. An enormous amount of work that you must have done. And I can imagine you just had a blast putting it together. It's a very creative, interesting thing. So I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you for all of that. And you're right, I did love it. And yes, it's a lot of work. It's the kind of work that I enjoy doing. So as it is for most people, you get lost in it in a good way.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
these are films, the 12 we showed that I love. I've seen many times. And even for me, as I was presenting them today, I was seeing them differently. And that's one of the beauties of the hero's journey is by marking things in different places. And in this case, putting these 12 disparate stories, because they are very different versions of Christmas, next to each other, I think you get this full version of humanity. That's what came through to me, and
Wow.
thought it was very beautiful.
So not just Christmas, but life.
That's right, because Christmas is a thing. The holiday season is a thing. It
Yeah.
is seen differently by all sorts of people, whether or not you absolutely celebrate Christmas, the Christian faith way, or it's just part of your life. And you and your brother David brought that forward so beautifully. Having been raised Jewish, and it's like, yeah, this meant this to us. We were working.
Well, it was a retail family, right? The store was open. It's when you made whatever extra money you're going to have during the year.
Yeah, and that's every bit as legitimate of a Christmas story as anybody else's. It's a different lens, it's a different perspective, and I think that came through today was the different perspectives on Christmas. Yeah,
Very much so. So there were some people who were like in your world who they knew all the movies and they had their favorites and stuff. And I hadn't seen a number of those movies. And I mean, you probably get to more movies than almost anybody I know. And you remember them. Another piece of the task that you took on when you had this idea was 3 minutes.
yeah.
All these movies, and you're going to find 3 minutes for each of these 12 steps. It was heroic. It was terrific. It was an
Well,
effort. I was
thank you. Yeah, to
impressed.
try to get we were just over an hour, but not much, and to try to keep this to an hour presentation, so that it stays light, so that everybody stays involved, and it really has pace to it. Um,
You
with
know what
with
I liked?
Yeah,
Uh, you organized what we did the same way you organized the cinema therapy class
right,
assignments.
right.
So we looked at 3 movie clips, and then we had a little reflection on them. We didn't, as you said, we only had an hour, so that was a big task to try to do that, but pretty much kept us on course. And it
Well,
was a
that was
big group. You had a lot of interest, and
yeah,
I think
yeah.
people will come back.
I think so. I think when they, hopefully the feeling that I heard that they're going away with was, wow, that was more than I expected. Even this was interesting. This was
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
It certainly met, I think, the expectations and then exceeded them, which is a great feeling. And, you know, that I saw a lot of laughter in the room. I saw some people getting choked up in some moments. I certainly got choked up.
Yeah.
And if we can share those moments with each other and reset what we think of Christmas for ourselves, knowing that we're heading into that holiday season, right? I think it's nice to do this early and go, yeah, because for some people this is a difficult time, and
Mm.
we should lean into that too and say, hey, you're not alone. Look at these people on the screen struggling with their version of Christmas too, and somehow we do get through it, you know.
You and it helps to see it in a movie. It's a little bit like what you ask us to do in our writing to mythologize ourselves or to write about a character. In a movie, you maybe can own up to feeling a connection with something good or bad that happens because you maybe do see it get resolved and maybe it doesn't.
That it's a very healthy thing to do to get grab some aesthetic distance from your own life, and as you said, mythologize. Say, what if a version of me, this cutout version of me was doing this, and gave him or her some characteristics and put them in a situation that I'm familiar with, but maybe twist, 25 degrees or whatever. How do I feel about that? And boy, you can learn a lot by listening to yourself again in that reflection. I love the Ebenezer Scrooge scene when he looks in the mirror. Tim,
Oh,
it's me. It's
that
me,
oh, that
right?
actor was so
Alistair.
talented. It
Yeah.
was Robert, yeah, it was stunning. His performance. I was applauding him at the end. Yeah, and you probably have other clips from those just these movies that.
Yeah, we could, if I don't hear a lot, there are some I already have heard from, like Amy, who wasn't there today, but of course provided the chocolates, which was won by my dear Aunt Linda.
That was
Um,
great.
she wasn't there today, but she will be next week, and she's provided some thoughts of some films she'd like to see added. Great.
Oh, good,
We'll get them
good.
in there. We'll add some others. And like you said, I have a deep dive on every one of these films. So I'm adding as many clips as I can and just be ready to shift the wheel slightly. And as you get familiar with their journeys, go, oh yeah, they did that too. And how do I feel when I see that person over here now? As opposed to when I saw them here a week ago. What did they learn? And yeah, mixing them all up, I think really there's value in that, to
You
say,
did a dose with Amy about what we just did about the Christmas movies, the holiday movies, and she described a series of family traditions, starting at Thanksgiving, this this day, this thing. And when I was listening to her, and again today, my family didn't have those traditions.
you know,
So it's fascinating as an adult to see how deeply important it still is.
yeah, I'd say that was deep. And then the other thing, which we'll close on because we're low over time, just to say, hearing my Aunt Linda come forward with a reflection of her mom, my grandmother,
Yes,
and recognizing the time, when Linda was in her 20s, of the frustration she had with her own mom's, her complaints about all she did for Christmas. Like, well, stop doing it. Now she realized, oh my God, that was love. She
it
was
was.
doing love. That was the way she knew how. And
Hmm. Hmm.
again, what a gift that she can give both her and her mother that gift.
Yes. Here's
Yeah.
to Aunt Linda and Mom,
And
all
Amy,
the moms.
grandma. Wonderful. That's the hero's journey for Christmas movies. And again, we'll be doing it next week. There will be a change in
Oh,
time, and I'll
yeah.
give that to you all, email you all. But we'll be doing it next Friday and every Friday through the season until December 20th, when we give away our grand prize, a tuition to cinema therapy next year in 2025, a $2,000 value. So keep showing up, sharing this with friends, and we'll see you soon.